Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Tuesday Night Live. How are we doing tonight? It's been a crazy weekend with racing, and we have more this weekend to look forward to. Cool. A bunch of people, okay, chatting it up. What's up, everyone? As always, put in the chat where you're watching from and what you're kind of training for right now. Like, what are you working towards? Did you just have a big race? Do you have anything coming up? And then we'll talk about it. You guys run the show. You take it where you want it to go. And yeah, let's get going. I'll be right back after this little intro video. All right. What's up, everyone? We got Seek Your Elite here. What's up, everyone? Finally made it early for once. Nice. Welcome. Glad to have you. Eduardo Sanchez is here. Happy Tuesday from Chula Vista. Dave from Chase the Summit is here. Hi. How's it going, man? Dan D, good evening from Chicago suburbs. Stormy night here. Power's on and off. Whoa. Good luck with that. Justin's here. Hello, everyone from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hope you're doing well, Justin. Sean Moore, Atlanta here. Happy Taco Tuesday. Yeah. Curtis is here. St. Paul, about to go for a run. Nice. Good luck. Have fun. Joviat's here. It's been a few weeks, but I'm back. Got a half marathon trail race for me. Awesome. Those are so fun. Like, I love just going out for just like a half marathon trail races are awesome. We have a bunch here in town, not in town, but in the area. They do a lot of like 10Ks, 5Ks also, but 10K is an interesting, like just a cool like trail distance. Some 15Ks too. Labe's here. What's up? Bedford, Indiana. How's it going, man? David Jobs is here from Northern Virginia, working towards 12-hour race in September. That's awesome. Oh man, I think that would be just like, I think that would be so cool to do a timed race. Got to do one soon. Seek Your Elite says, just bought a Phoenix 6 Pro. Have you reviewed it? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? No, I haven't ever reviewed. I don't have the Phoenix 6 Pro. I have the Enduro. That's the most recent Garmin watch I have. And I really like it. I think you'll like the Phoenix 6 Pro. It's a good watch. Dave Lee Sevens here. Barkley Fall Classic in 3 weeks, and then a 100-miler 3 weeks later. Mid-state, massive. I think Chase the Summit's doing that one too. I also have a friend doing the Barkley Fall Classic, so that would be really cool. That's a race that, like, oh man, it's like I always feel like, yeah, that would be fun to go run that race, and then you see the pictures of everyone like doing it after, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like if I was gonna go down there to do like the big Barkley, like sure, you know what you're getting yourself into, but it's different. It's usually like in March or April, not as hot, a little bit less foliage, but the Barkley Fall Classic just looks like torture. Especially going up like Rat Jaw, like fully overgrown with briars. Yeah. Good luck with that though. I'll be following it. I'll be following along because of my good friend Matt is doing it. So, Justin, DNF mile 38. Oh man, I was hoping that you had a good day out there, but mile 38 by 2 minutes due to the modified cutoffs at Twin Lakes. Interesting, modified. Gave it all I had on the downhills, but this Flatlanders quads still had a great time. Yeah. So Justin did Leadville. I wonder why the cutoffs were modified. That's interesting. I do know that because I paced at Leadville a couple years ago, and they are very aggressive cutoffs up until the halfway point. And then after that, it gets a little bit more relaxed. But you really have to make it, I believe, I don't know. I don't want to, I mean, the cutoff is like maybe like 14 hours or something to get in and out of the halfway point, or maybe it's even quicker than that. But when we were, and you also can't start pacing at the halfway point anymore, which is what I did a couple years ago. But when I was there and did that, as we were leaving, and within 20 or 30 minutes of leaving halfway, you start making your way back down the same trail you came on because it's an out and back. And there was so many people that were getting cut off at the halfway point a couple years ago. So yeah, it's pretty aggressive, but that altitude out there will get you can't run nearly as fast as you can, unless you live out there. Then you're probably used to it. But yeah, that was really fun to follow along, seeing Anton come back and crush it. And then the new, I just lost his name. Is it Tyler Andrews? Is he the guy that won it? Was that his name? Shoot, I'm blanking. I should pull up the results actually. Maybe we'll do that later. Who else is here? James is here, and from New Jersey, 50K on 9/11, and then a road marathon, 10:10, 55 mile on November 6th. Awesome. 10:10. That'll be while you're running your road marathon. Hopefully, I'm finishing up my 100 miler on that morning. David Sachs is here from upstate New York. What's up? Denise Klott is here from Boston, running the virtual Boston Marathon in October. First marathon. Nice. Getting it done. First marathon. Virtually. That's awesome. Good luck. Keep your motivation up. Doing a virtual marathon would be tough. Brisbane, Australia. Seek Your Elite. Let's see. Tuna Galore is here from Bowling Green, Kentucky, getting ready for the No Business 100 in October. Awesome. Good luck at that No Business 100. That is a fun race. I had a blast at it a couple years ago. Very fun. Deceivingly, if you're similar, you're kind of in the same region of the country, so you probably have a decent idea of what the trails are like in that area. But yeah, it's the elevation gain and descent. Like my watch had it at like somewhere around like 13,000. But it's a difficult race. Yeah, it's a good race though. Pretty well run. Connor is here from Dallas, training for a triathlon and a 15K trail race. Awesome. Aaron Townsend is here from Victoria, Texas. 8 weeks until the Cactus Rose 100. Nice. Paul Reynolds is here from Catskills, New York. Hope all is well. Awesome. Dave. Yep. I'll be at Mid-State. Awesome. Looks like we'll be running 2 races together. Awesome. When is that? That's got to be coming up soon. Couple weeks, maybe. Justin says at Leadville, they cut 30 minutes off of the Twin Lakes outbound and then 14 hours to Winfield. Yeah. So, yeah, when you got a race that's supposed to be 30 hours long, a 14-hour cutoff at halfway point is not like that bad. But yeah, you're gonna cut off a lot of people when you do that. But yeah, so sorry to hear about that, Justin. Brian Steinberg runs too much is here. What's up? Devin Ingram's here. Skomberg in the house. Cool, guys. Well, what do you got going on? Let me know what questions you have. We'll talk about them. Do pandas read books? I love your name, by the way. Hi there. Do you have any preferred set of headphones for running? I've been using over-the-ear Bose, and they just get too heavy. Great channel. Love the content. Thank you so much. Yeah, my favorite for running, I actually have been trying to run without music or podcasts for the last couple months. Pretty much since after Cruel Jewel, I started running outside a lot more. When I was I was wearing headphones and watching TV on the treadmill, like movies and stuff. But when I run outside, I've been trying to just like connect more with my running and feel what's going on in my body more. And that's not like a weird thing to do, right? But yeah, I've been trying not to listen to headphones, but the headphones I like the most, they actually don't work anymore because they went through the washing machine and did not survive. But they're the Jaybird Vistas. I just think they're really good headphones. There's a bunch, and I mean a bunch of headphones that are like $30 or $40 though, like Bluetooth wireless headphones. And that's probably your best bet, is because when you're running, nothing's going to actually sound good. It's just like the physics of running and with your ears and everything. Like nothing's going to actually sound good compared to like when you're sitting, like if you're critically listening, like in your house or something. When you're outside, there's going to be so much road noise or whatever's going on around you. And then just the way your feet are hitting and the bones in your body, like you can hear everything. At least I can. And so I've never had a pair of headphones that are just like amazing when I'm running. But the Jaybird were really good. And I've a bunch of like, I don't want to call them like cheap brands have sent me Bluetooth headphones, but I've tried out a bunch of them, and they're all pretty much the same. They're not great, but if you can snag a pair for $30, $40, $50 or something, you could go through 3 or 4 pairs with the same amount of money as your Jaybirds. And they all work about the same. They all sound about the same. I mean, some of them sound a little bit better, but I mean, I'm super picky about sound audio in general. I mean, that's how I make part of my living. But I also, like, I'm not afraid to tell you that when you're running, it doesn't really matter that much. Just get something that works, cheap, you can replace many times if you want to. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. That way, if you lose them or you accidentally send them through the wash like I did, you're only out like $30 or $40. Yeah. Joel Walters is here. What's up? Seattle, Washington in the house. Philip Rudd says, just finished backpacking, ready to resume half marathon training for October 3rd race near Columbus, Ohio. Awesome. Sounds cool. Justin says aftershocks, just because you can hear what's around you for safety. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's really good, especially like if you're running through traffic or whatever, but also on the trails, because you want to be like courteous to those around you. And I had, over the weekend, I had a really funny interaction with somebody on the trails. I'll tell that story. Guess I can tell it now. It was, so I'm running at this place that I run at all the time, state park. Like you have to pay to get in. It's a nice place. And I've never had a single problem with a single person there in years of running there. And I'm running on a single track on Saturday. And I was a couple hours into my run, so I was like completely drenched. Sweat is like literally like pouring off me. It's like I'm disgusting. And I come up behind this family, and it was a guy and two smaller kids, and I slow down and I'm like, excuse me. And no one turned around. And then that's why I said it louder. I was like, excuse me, on your left. And then the two kids turned around and jumped off the sidewall. And so I like start passing them. And then the dad, I assume, is just like, no, I will not excuse you. And he didn't even look backwards. And he just like put his arms out real broad and is single track. And like at this point I'm walking behind him and I'm like, excuse me, sir, just on your left. Like, I'll just get around. I'm running. And he goes, I will not excuse you. And I was like, okay, fine. So I like jump in the brush off to the side, totally continue to give him the trail and the brush on the side. And then he tries to like elbow me into the tree, and like my whole body, like just like we completely collided, and I probably soaked him with all my sweat, and he probably really regretted that decision. But I kept running and didn't even look back. But I was just like, seriously, like, I don't know. You pay money to get into a state park, and then you're going to be that rude, like out on the trail. Like, that's just like, that's unfortunate. And then to be that type of an example in front of what I assume was his kids too, just like, that was very frustrating. But yeah, I think he got the worst end of that deal, honestly. You shouldn't run into a very sweaty runner if you're hiking, because you're probably going to get soaked. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about aftershocks, headphones. Those are really good, especially on the trail if someone's coming up behind you, because then you can hear them. This person was not wearing headphones. They definitely knew I was there. He just decided that he was not going to move. Anyway. But yeah, it's always funny when you come up behind someone wearing headphones, because you're just like, I'm probably going to like scare the crap out of you, but it's your problem. Like, you're wearing headphones, you can't hear me. Devin says, I have a question for you regarding salt tabs. I generally see a 5 to 12 pound drop in weight from water. Whoa. A running group recommended salt tabs. What is your recommendation for water loss salt tabs? Yeah, so that's a lot. 5 to 12 pounds. Now I don't know what like percentage of your actual body weight that is, but I mean, that's like, that could be reasonable. I've lost over 10 pounds before, on like heavy sweat days. But yeah, I think a lot of it, like, now I don't know all the science behind it. So, but I do know that, like salt tabs or like an electrolyte drink is going to replace those electrolytes that you actually do need. And so I would say, like, try it out. You don't want to go overboard, because there's, now I don't know if actually losing the water weight is a problem. So I wouldn't really focus on that so much. I mean, I would try and consult with like your doctor or something first, but, I would say if you're losing a lot of salt, you need to replace a little bit during your run, but you also don't want to do too much, because there's things that can happen from that. But I don't think, I mean, losing weight while you run from water is not a big deal. Like, that's kind of gonna happen. I do take salt tabs though, because I know that my sweat has a high salt consistency. And so I do try to replace electrolytes as I go. So I have, and I do notice that, there's certain things that happen to me that I don't know if they're exactly, like, I don't know if a research study would back this up, but, at night, like when I start to get kind of like out of it, during a race, when I'm running overnight, sometimes that can do, because a lot of times I end up drinking less during the night because it's cooler. And I'm also just like not running as much a lot of times. And so I'm not as thirsty, but I'm still sweating and I'm still losing electrolytes. And so I can tell like when I'm a little bit low on that. And so taking a salt tab will kind of like clear my mind back up. It'll kind of like freshen me up and help me get going a little bit more. But also during the day, like it's really important for me to be replacing that, because I have found that I typically need to supplement a little bit more than just like a typical sports drink, because most sports drinks, even like ones like Tailwind and that are supposedly like high in electrolytes, higher than the average, a lot of them are still designed or formulated for like the average runner, also, and like trending towards the like below average like salt content in your sweat, because they don't want to oversalt the average population, because there's really serious health risks that can come with that too. So your typical sports drink is going to be on the low end the average person needs. So you just need to kind of take a look at it and just kind of like pay attention to it and try out salt tabs. I really like the salt stick chewable tabs, because for me, late in a race, it's like it can become near impossible to swallow a pill without everything coming back up. And so taking those chewable tabs is a lot easier, because it's not the same sensation that like makes me throw up. Yeah, but I would definitely try it out, see what happens, but also don't go crazy with salt tabs. Ken says, big week and then heading into taper for Run Rabbit Run 50 miler. First 50, pretty excited. Nice. You picked a big 50 miler for your first one. That's awesome though. I did Run Rabbit Run in, I don't know what year it was, 2018, maybe 18. No, it would have been 18. Yeah, that's a beautiful course. I would love to do that. If I could do, like, I probably won't repeat 100 milers for several years. Like, I don't know, like maybe, I don't know when I'll start actually going back and repeating 100 milers, because I don't do enough in a year. Like I have averaged one finish per year for the last 5 years. And so this year, if I finish IT 100, this will be 2 in 1 year. And I would like to start doing 2 at least per year. But yeah, I just don't do enough to really repeat. But if I did repeat, that would be one of the first ones that I go back and do again, because that race was just amazing. I mean, Steamboat Springs, the town, was awesome. And the course was just great. It's a great course. Golden Deer Productions says, Ryan, I hit my first 50 a few months ago. Any tips as I start training for my first 100? Yeah, your training is not going to be that much different. I would just bump up some of the weekly mileage a little bit if you can. But the big thing that you do want to change, if possible, is your long runs on the weekend, or whenever you do them. You want to make the long run longer. And then you also want to throw in some back-to-backs, like back-to-back long runs, if you can swing it with your schedule, because that's really good to do, like a 20 miler on a Saturday and a 20 miler on a Sunday, or 25, something like that. You don't have to go crazy and do like 50 and 50, but doing like a 4 to 5 hour effort on a Saturday and then turning around and doing another 4 to 5 hour effort on a Sunday, get a couple of those in, maybe get one that's a little bit bigger, maybe do like a 30 and a 20. That is going to be one of the biggest things that helps with transitioning from a 50 to 100, because like the 100, I mean, as simple as this sounds, you're just doing the same thing, but a lot longer. The mechanics of the running part are going to be the same. Like, you're not going to be going much slower than your 50. You're going to be going similar speed, especially if it's your first one. You're going to be like, how to kind of fuel now because you've done a 50 miler, you're just going to be doing that longer. You're going to be hitting a lot more aid stations. So you do need to practice like more like taking food in, hydrating. But the biggest thing is just going to be that you're running a lot, many more hours. And so getting that through your head and getting the mental side ready is going to be a big deal. And so those back-to-backs are really good because you do a long run and then the next day you're pretty tired and you go out and do another really long run. That's just it's going to prepare you really well. So yeah, but your training is not going to be that much different. Throw in some long back-to-backs and just try to increase the weekly mileage a little bit if you can. Joel Walter says, I also had a run-in with some guy at State Park that left me a little sad face. I hope that wasn't you, Joel. No, I'm just kidding. I know it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird some people, it's just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why some people are just like unhappy or difficult to be around. Like when you're outside in the woods, like just relax. Seek Your Elite says pickle juice works well if you start cramping. Oh, nice. Yeah. I always see there's all these things that like I always just forget in the middle of 100 milers. Cause you're just like, you come into the aid station and you're just like zoned out a lot of times at the end. So that's one of the reasons why it's really good to have a crew, because you can kind of talk about things ahead of time. And like if you're cramping, you might be able to say, I'm cramping, but you might not have a clue how to fix it. Even if you really actually do know, you might not be able to remember how to fix it. But your crew, like if you've discussed, okay, if I'm cramping, I'm going to try these two things. We're going to get out like the stick roller and we're going to, roll my muscles a little bit and we're going to drink some pickle juice. Like maybe they'll remember how to do that and help you. So that can really help. That's one of the reasons why having a crew can really help in a long race like that. Ravon123 says, I'm attempting the IT 100 for the third time. Nice. I plan on finishing it this year. Yeah, man. What are your top 3 tips for completing a 100 miler? Ooh, top 3 tips. Wow. I think, number 1 is just like, this is one is kind of like really broad, but like having a really strong why is important. And I think if you go into a race half-hearted, the 100 miler is just going to kick your butt so hard. And it's really like, you're really going to have a hard time finishing that if you're just like half in it. And I've experienced that before. I've gone into 100 milers before where I was already looking ahead to something later and just had a horrible race. And so I think like knowing why you're doing that race and just really focusing on completing it, like the mental game is so strong. You have to be present in it. And then I think another thing that just helps me, like when I'm in these races, is just like reminding myself that if things start going really, really bad, it's okay to just walk. It's okay to walk for an hour if you have to, or 2 hours if you have to. Because if you're doing that, you're still moving forward. I think myself included, a lot of, people tend to like sit down at aid stations. For me, like, I just know my body. Like if I sit down for like 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, like that's going to help me a little bit, like on the next section. And so I do sit down at aid stations, especially late in races, because it just takes a little pressure off, especially the feet, takes pressure off your feet. But but everyone's different. A lot of people are like, never touch a chair. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm okay with sitting for 5 minutes. I don't like sitting longer than that. And I've learned from that. Like, I've sat at an aid station before for 45 minutes. Didn't even have a clue that I was there for 45 minutes. And an aid station worker came over and asked me if I was dropping. And was like, you've been here for 45 minutes. And I thought I was there for like 5. So it's really important to kind of like keep track of that. Like, don't get stuck in aid stations. Just keep moving. Even if you're walking, it's better than sitting. And then your legs might come back around. So when everything starts falling apart, forward motion, forward progress is always better than sitting. So, and with the IT100, you've attempted it a couple times. So I think you should have pretty good motivation for finishing it this time. This will be different this year too, because it's only 4 loops instead of 5, because they added that 5-mile section on the loop. So that could make it easier to break down, actually, because you're only going to come back to the start finish like 1 less time, 3 times in the middle of the race. You know, like after 2 loops, you're halfway done. Like, it just, maybe the mental side of it will be enough to help put you over the edge this time. But that's awesome. Good luck, Rayvon. Hope to see you there. All right, let's see. What else we got going here? Okay, some talk about back to salt. Losing. Daniel Van Stencil says, I lose about a pound and a half an hour from sweat, and I have very salty sweat. It actually leaves white, salty residue on my skin. You can see. Yeah, same here. A lot of my shirts too. Like, it'll just be like caked with white salt at the end of a run. Liquid IV. I started using originally made for cancer patients to help maintain electrolytes. It's been very easy on the gut. Interesting. Liquid IV. Might have to check that out. Aaron Townsend says, headed back to Rocky Raccoon in February. Missed sub 24 by 22 minutes last time. Oof. Still, that's a good time though. It's a moral imperative to go back and take care of unfinished business. Nice. I agree. I've got a race like that too, that I need to go back and finish unfinished business with. Ricky McLean says, how does specifically width of the Solomon Ultra Glide compare to the Evo Speed Goat? Good question. The Solomon Ultra Glide, I feel like, is just maybe a tiny bit wider. Maybe. And if it's not, it just has to do with the material is a little bit easier on your foot. But they're both narrow. I mean, neither of them are wide. Justin says, 1 gallon Ziploc bag. Oh, this is a good tip for 100 milers too. I always forget this, but I need to do this for my next one. Ziploc bag so you can throw food in the bag after filling your water and start walking and eating. That is a great tip. Great tip. Just have like a little baggie, throw some food in it after you fill up your bottles, and then just go and eat while you're walking. Because if you stand at the aid station and eat, like, that's just, you're losing time, you're losing distance. You could be walking. And if you're like either chasing a certain time or pushing cutoffs, like, that can be very, very important. One thing that I meant to do after Cruel Jewel and never did, which I should go back and do, is actually add up all the time I was in an aid station over the course of the race. And the Garmin Enduro actually has this function for the ultra run. You can hit one of the buttons. You can program it to start a rest timer, which is different than a lap. It stores it differently. And then when you go into the Garmin Connect app, you can see all the times that you were at aid stations. And so I actually did that for like the first half of the race. And then I forgot one and I was like, forget this. and I quit doing it for the rest of the race. But it was really interesting, like, to go back. I glanced at it afterwards, and I saw that, like, my aid station times were really quick for the first, like, 50 miles. Like, I was doing really well, like less than 2 minutes on most of them, 2 to 3 minutes. And then even after, it wasn't like super bad, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I didn't sit much longer than that, though. Seek Your Elite says, I have a friend who does not sit down at aid stations for the very reason you had, where you get comfortable and lose track of time. Yeah. I mean, if you have a tendency to lose track of time, that's a big problem. And I experienced that, like I said. That was at Grindstone. I have no idea. And I don't even know if that aid station person was, whoa, what's up? We have a new super chat. Fernando. That's awesome. Thank you for the $10 super chat. What's your prediction time for the next 100 miler? So my goal, and what I really do hope to do, is sub 24 hours. So somewhere in between, like, that 22 to 24 hours, I would be really happy with. And I don't know, like, I've never trained this much and like this for a 100 miler. So I really don't have like a, what do you call it? Like, I don't have anything to base my training off of. I haven't done enough of these races to really, like, be like, okay, based off of this training, I feel like I can go this time. So a lot of it is just going to be like, I'm just going to, like, shoot my shot on race day and see what happens. I'm going to play it safe. Like, I'm going to be conservative. Like, I'm going to do my best not to blow up. And so kind of like what I'm thinking, 2 weeks ago, I did a loop of the course, a full loop of the course. And I did it in, like, I think it was like 4 hours and 20 minutes or something, 4 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. So I'm thinking, if I could, that would be pretty sweet to do if I could do 2 laps in under 10 hours, that would put me in a really good spot to finish sub 24. And then who knows from there. So we'll see. What I really need to make sure happens is that I don't spend a lot of time in aid stations, or if it starts getting cold, like, don't spend a lot of time in the tents, trying to warm up, just keep moving. So we'll see. Yeah, that's my goal, though. I've never done a sub 24, so we're going for that. Oh, and then Aaron, yeah, awesome. Pacing strategy for IT100 with sub 24 goal: even splits, reverse splits, faster start. Yeah, my goal would be to even split it as much as possible. There's no way that I don't think I have any sort of, like, negative splits, unless I just went out and, like, did, like, a 6 or 7 hour, like, first lap or something, and just really, really took it easy. But I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to run really conservative, but I'm going to be like shooting for, like, 22 hours probably. So we'll see. Like, if I finished 50 miles in, like, around 10 or under, I'd be, like, super happy with that. Put me in a really good spot to just keep grinding on it if I can. So yeah, we'll see. But like I said, I have nothing to base my fitness on. I have no previous race performances to go off of. I mean, my best 100 milers I've done before have all been mountain races. Oh, what's up? New member, Carlos Vasquez. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I have the races I've trained the best for have all been mountain races. And then the races I've trained the worst for have been the, like, more flatter, like, Midwest races. And so, and then you've got like no business, which is kind of like in between, which is, it's not really a mountain race. I mean, it kind of is. There is mountains, but there's not any long sustained climbs, but it's also not flat either. It's not a flat race. It's kind of an in-betweener. And I feel like I'm happy with my finish there, but I was also kind of surprised that, the last like 30 miles, like I was surprised I slowed down as much as I did in the last 30. But that was, like part of me, the reason why I'm okay with that is because I didn't have a pacer or a crew for the whole race. I was pretty much on my own. Like I ran with Russell for like the first half, which was awesome. And then we split up, cause he picked up a pacer, and we just split up. And so I was pretty much alone for the last half of that race, and definitely did, like that was hard. So I slowed down during that. So I would love to go back to that race and try and do it a little bit quicker. But, yeah, for IT 100, I have nothing to base it off of. I have no idea what I can do or what I am setting myself up to do, but we'll see. Oh, awesome. TDS is going on right now. UTMB is coming up this week too. This weekend. Typer Green, maybe Tyler. Yeah, you mean Tyler. Coming off second place at Western States, is running top 10 at TDS right now. That's awesome. I think TDS is the 100K, right? I believe so. Justin Turnbow said, by the way, loving Ultra Pacer. They even sent me a message of good luck. Nice. That's awesome. Ultra Pacer is this really sweet website that I've shared a couple times on the channel, where I don't believe it's like a huge team. I think it's a really small team of people. It might only be just like one guy that's doing it all, but it's a pretty slick like website, and they've got it set up to where you can load in like a GPX file and program like where aid stations are, and you can kind of like plot out like time goals and everything. But then for a lot of races, they actually have all that data already in there for you, and you can just go click on it and say, I'm running this race, and then it'll start populating like a race plan for you. It's all free as of right now. So I would definitely recommend checking out Ultra Pacer. I don't know if it's .com or what, but just Google Ultra Pacer, and it's a great website. Oh yeah, Carlos Vasquez says buckle cam, please. Yeah, we got it, man. We got it. There's the buckles. Do we have any music? Let's see. Let's play some music for this. Yeah. So here we go. Those are the buckles. We got Run Rabbit right up front there. Cruel Jewel in the back. About ready to kick them all off the shelf. And yeah, that's them. Thanks, Carlos, for requesting that. Oh, man. Yep. Justin says, loving the buckle cam. So Ricky McLean says TDS is 145K. Interesting distance. Cool. And yeah, I'll scroll up to see if I missed any. I did miss a couple questions. Let's see. Aaron Townsend says, are you going to be testing the Rincon 3s? I hear their durability is improved. Yes, they're coming in the mail tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. I actually need a new pair of road shoes. I'm at like either 50 or 100 miles in all of the road shoes I have right now. I'm backed up on reviews and videos, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just been like with the amount of training I've been doing, with the amount of miles I've been putting in, like 80 miles last week, 70 the week before, or 78 the week before, sometimes 75 the week before that, 60s for a couple weeks before that. Like, I feel like my whole day, like I'm also working more than I should. But I feel like, either my whole day is spent getting myself physically and mentally ready to run or recovering from a run. And yeah, it's just tough. Like I'm tired. I'm tired all the time. But I think I'm in a good place. Like I'm seeing adaptation come, and it's been really, really cool the last couple weeks, because I've put like, I don't know, like, well, that'd be close to like almost like 300 miles in the last like 4 weeks or so. And I've been just seeing, like, with the amount of running I've been doing, it's been just really, really cool, like seeing how I'm improving as a runner. And like, I knew I would get more like fit and in shape and everything. And I knew that miles would come easier. But I didn't really expect, to like start feeling like a better runner as well. And that's been really, really cool. Really cool development, adaptation, to see happen during this training block of this like high mileage. And it makes sense. Like your body kind of has to adapt, to it. But it's cool to like see it for myself and like just feeling like everything, like I flow better. Like I'm just becoming a better runner. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, be testing the Rincon 3s real soon, and a couple review videos coming out pretty soon as well, hopefully on the shoes that have just hit like 100 miles and a few that have hit 50. Megan Demichelle says, thoughts on running in the Hoka Bondi in a race like Tunnel Hill 100. I would probably do it. If I was running Tunnel Hill, that would be a really good shoe to run in, probably, if your feet can handle a carbon plate for that long. There are some weird things that it does to your foot, as far as like mechanics that I've noticed. Like not anything super to be worried about, but I have noticed that running in shoes with carbon plates, like your feet learn how to run in them differently. Like you don't have to, there's certain things that like your foot doesn't have to be as like stable, I guess I should say, because the shoe is doing so much of that work for you, as far as like side to side, like lateral movement, as far as like any sort of like undulations in the road. Like you don't have to worry about a lot, and your foot notices that, and it starts to like change, and you start to change the way you run a little bit. And so I don't know how you would handle 100 miles in it. But there's definitely going to be some performance advantages. And it's a mild enough carbon plate experience that you might be able to get away with it at Tunnel Hill. You might be able to get through that race without anything like weird, like mechanically going on with your feet or your legs or anything. And yeah, I would probably try it, honestly. If I was doing Tunnel Hill, I would highly consider that. Yeah. But try the shoe out. I mean, test it out for yourself. See how you like it. All right, scrolling back down to the bottom. Justin says, how are you liking the T8 run gear? I freaking love it. I haven't had to use any lube since. Yeah, it's really great. So T8, that's interesting. You must have seen like my Strava or something, because I think I'm working on that video right now. Yeah, T8 is some ultra running clothing gear that's like designed by ultra runners for ultra runners. And it was really awesome. Like they sent me out some of their like commando shorts, which is like a short liner, and then for running shorts. So they have some like cool pockets and stuff. And I was very like surprised by how well they performed. A few things I wasn't like so hot on, but very, very impressive first run. Like I did 20 miles in them and loved them. So I'll be talking about that in a video real soon. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe like I said, like these ultra shorts that I have from like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago are my 100-mile shorts, and I saved them for only racing. I mean, I think I wore them at the 50K this year also. But yeah, these shorts are reserved only for racing because I want them to last as long as they can. But they're designed the same way. Like they have a liner. It's like a spandex liner that's kind of like halfway down your thigh. And then they've got some pockets around the sides, which are great. But these like T8, they're kind of set up the same way. So we'll see. Maybe I won't have to like worry so much about these ultra shorts I've had for like 5 years. Alicia Marie Fitness says, do you pay attention to heart rate, or do you like to run by feel or the effort, kind of beginner distance runner? Oh, this is a great question, especially right now, because I was just thinking about this on my run today. So there's several different ways that you can, there's several different metrics that you can like follow when you're running. You've got heart rate, you've got pace, you've got power, and then what else? So you have heart rate, pace, power. What am I forgetting? There's another one. There's another big one. Anyway, you have several things that you can look at while you're running. Rate of perceived exertion, RPE, which means like how hard do you feeling. These 4 like major things that you can track, look at, and judge your run based off of. And I think they're all, honestly, for running, I think they're all like pretty equally valuable. And if you decide to train solely based off of one of them, like more power to you. Like some coaches do that. Some books will tell you to do that. But you're going to be missing a lot of the bigger picture for running. Now, if you're a cyclist, just go with power. Like you're good if you just go with power. Like you can track all the other stuff, but if you're a professional cyclist or something, or you're doing triathlon, like that's a totally different story. Running is completely different. So running by heart rate is really good, but your heart rate is really heavily affected by a lot of things, like your environment, your diet, like your sleep, your stress, and it can be really thrown off by a lot of those things. So especially like a lot of us are in the middle of summer right now. For myself, my run today, it was 92 degrees, super high humidity. I was like absolutely getting crushed out there by the weather. And so my heart rate was really high. And after about 4 miles, like I couldn't keep it, like it was like crawling to zone 3 anytime I tried to run at a decent pace. And so I decided back a little bit, keep it in zone 2, but my pace was like miserable. It was like 9-minute, 9:20 pace, which is like, for me, like I'm much more used to running like mid 7s to 8s, stuff like that. So like by pulling a minute to a minute and a half off my pace, I was able to keep my heart rate in that zone. But you see what's happening is when you train by heart rate, your pace is going to be like fluctuating all over the place because your heart rate is being affected by all these external factors, internal factors, based off of like stress, sleep, all that kind of stuff. Vice versa, if you train only by pace, you're not the full picture either, because if I went out today and I was like, I need to hit 7:30s for 10 miles, like I would have probably passed out at about mile 6. Training by power, same way. It's not going to take the temperature into effect. It's not going to take a lot of these other things into effect. If I train by rate of perceived exertion, that a lot of people would argue is actually the smartest way to train. But no one can sell you that because you don't need a watch for it. You don't need any education. You just go out, any sort of like training or coaching. You just go out and run a 6 out of 10 or a 7, and you just hold it there. And that's your run. That might be the smartest way to train, honestly. But Yeah. So I think, so sorry to make this like a super long answer. But I do train by heart rate, but I use it as a tool, and I use it. What's up, Trevor? Thanks for subscribing. I use it as a tool to, a lot of times make decisions in the middle of the run, but a lot of times I also just completely ignore it, because I know today my heart rate was going to be like sky high because it's 92 degrees and high humidity. Like after 4 miles, there's just no chance of keeping it low if I want to run a decent pace. So I can make a decision. I can either run a decent pace and really trash myself today, or I can pull the effort back, keep my heart rate in a certain zone, and then just run a little bit slower. So yeah, that's why it helps to have a coach like kind of help you and guide you through that as a beginner, like you said, beginner distance runner, because there's a lot of that stuff that you just like, you're not thinking about, like as a beginner. Like there's no way you can be thinking about all of that. But if you pay attention to those 4 things, heart rate, pace, power, if you have a power meter, like a stride pod, and then rate of perceived exertion, most beginners should just be doing like rate of perceived exertion, and then start tracking your heart rate. Maybe figure that. That would be my advice. Brian says the weather forecast in Michigan is calling for treadmill miles. Same in Indiana. Yeah, maybe. My problem is that my treadmill is in my garage and it's not air conditioned, so it's actually hotter in my garage than outside. MT Knops 1776 says just started watching Running the Triple Crown. Great stuff, Ryan. Nice, that's awesome. I hope everyone can see that someday. Yeah, that was a documentary series I did 2 years ago now with Rob from Training for Ultra, and it's on Amazon Prime. You can go check it out. It's $5 for the full season of 6 episodes of him running and me documenting 3 200-mile races, which is really cool. I would love to someday do a 200-mile race. Posner 2 says, any thoughts on Eliud Kipchoge stating that he'd like to get into ultramarathons? Yeah, I saw that. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, he'll do comrades probably in a couple of years. I would love it if he could do some trail races and stuff, but like we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a long transition probably, because he's like the best, fastest, most well-kept Ferrari in the world, and you're not going to take that. Like he is what he is because of what he's done, and he's an absolutely incredible athlete. And so I think if he wanted to go run comrades, he'd probably just like crush it first year. If he did 50Ks, he'd probably, the type of training he does, I don't know how much he gets out on trails. I don't know how much he can get out on. But I think his engine is just like, it's probably one of the best engines in the world, obviously. So we'll see. I would love to see it. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. It was interesting to see him say that, though. Say run for 4 or 5 days. Saw that. Duno says Javelina 100 says 100 miler. I'm using the Rincon 3. Nice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Justin says heart rate by watch is pretty useless. Chest straps helps, but there's such a lag. It's really hard to be useful as far as a watch. Looking at it after, you can get at least a view of spikes. Yeah, that's kind of true. It depends on you. It depends on your skin. It depends on how tight your watch is. It depends on what watch you have. Not all brands are created equal. I think some of the best heart rate monitors I've tested are from Polar. Garmin's pretty good too. Yeah, my Polar H10 chest strap is the best. If you want accurate heart rate monitor, get the Polar H10. And it's sort of uncomfortable. Nobody loves wearing heart rate straps around their chest, but it's going to give you accurate data. What Justin was talking about as far as the lag is definitely true. And I showed this in a video, maybe a couple years ago or something, where I would do I think it was maybe 4-minute intervals, or maybe 3-minute intervals. I can't remember exactly, but I would get up to, 95% of my FTP or something. So I'd be wearing a power meter and a heart rate strap, and you do a 3-minute interval, and immediately you jump up to 95% of your FTP, very hard, fast running, and your power was just flat, and you could see it exactly. You could make adjustments based off of what you were seeing on your watch. Instant feedback with your power. But the heart rate, it took 90 seconds to reach where it landed for that interval. And then you only had about 90 seconds of where it was sitting, where it was at your actual effort for that interval. And so for every interval, it was your power looked it just looked straight up and down, you were just doing these perfect intervals. But your heart rate looked like a shark fin every time. And so that's why there's a lag, because your body's your heart rate just doesn't respond immediately to the amount of work that is required. There's a little bit of a lag for your heart rate to get up. So if you're doing really high intensity interval work, heart rate is not what you should be basing your effort level on, because you're going to be all over the place, and you're going to have no idea what you're doing, and you're going to be really frustrated, and it's not going to work out. But if you're doing long runs or long intervals that there isn't a huge jump in effort, mile intervals or anything like that, heart rate can be really useful in those situations. Let's see. Alicia says, thank you. That was really helpful. Awesome. John Stark says second on the Polar H10. Nice. All right, guys. Well, I'm about to wrap it up here and see if you guys have any last minute questions. Put them in the chat. Then I'm going to get out of here. Let you guys go to bed too. Reno, what's up? Reno Backlog. Hi, thanks for inspiring. Thank you. Justin says, great show. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. Awesome. Thank you, man. Oh, man. And good luck, man. So fun to follow you through Leadville and everything. Even though you got timed out, you got to experience some pretty cool stuff out there. And now you've got some fire to get back. But all right, guys. Just scrolling through to see if I missed any comments or questions. Probably a couple. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. It's a good spot to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for joining. Tunes this week. I've got probably a vlog coming out tomorrow on my run from the weekend. And then a couple shoe reviews, couple gear reviews. Got a couple watch reviews coming out pretty soon. Still working on those. But yeah, stay motivated, people. Fall's right around the corner. For those of you that are in this miserable summer right now, we're going to get through it. I like the summer. I think running in the middle of the day in the worst conditions possible will set you up for, at least it's in the past, it's set me up for a pretty good fall season. So I'm having a good time suffering in this heat. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well, staying safe out there, and just getting ready for whatever races you have coming up, training hard. But that's it, guys. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this. For all of you that are watching on the replay, definitely comment down below. Let me know you were watching. And maybe one time you can join us live. Never know. But that's it for now. thank you guys so much for stopping by. I'll see you again soon. Bye.